I went once, but I couldn't, I can't justify the trip. You know,
That's a long way.
6 hour round trip, and, you know, I can't do
Hey, John.
Morning, Dwayne.
Morning again. Are you going? We going to do a lab this week, or
We're going
is that?
to your animal lab this week.
So that's going to be the meat lab assignment would cover that then.
Right, right.
Okay. All right, just checking. I just want to make sure we're on the same page.
Yeah, that's a page we're working off of.
Okay. That's fine. I just want to, make sure we're
Yeah,
together.
that's what we've done in the past, and,
Right.
and it gives everybody a chance to sort of, gives them ample time to get both of those done, and then we get past the holiday time and everybody gets settled a little better, and then we'll go to doing something. So.
Right. Okay. Well, I just wanted to make sure, I know we've done it in the past, but I wanted to make sure.
Yeah, that's where we're going.
Okay. All right. Is Southside with us today? Alberta, Keysville, and South Boston, right?
Alberta is here. South Boston
Okay.
and Keysville. Are y'all there? Keysville.
Okay, Keysville's trying to connect right now. I just saw
Okay.
on the screen.
Okay, South Boston, do you hear me? Nina.
All right, Keysville failed again. All right, let me go run down Joe, see why Keysville and South Boston's not connected.
I don't believe they got their stuff turned. How's Danny? You all right?
Yeah, don't pretty good.
Looks sleepy. What think about that? Dwayne, you back?
Keysville, do you hear us?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, Nina in South Boston, are you there? Oh, Nina.
There she is.
Oh, okay, you got her?
Yeah, I see her.
Nina. Okay, Nina, I just sent you a text, so that was me, in case you're wondering.
She's not acknowledging us, though. I don't know if she hears us or not.
That's.
Nina, wave if you hear us. Nina, wave. Hello, hello. Don't believe she hears us, Tom. I can see her, but I can't get any reaction from her. Nina, smile. No.
Oh, she says she cannot see or hear us.
Okay.
I just got a text from her. Okay.
Can't you see her? Can you see her?
No.
I can, I think. She's in the safety building?
You may be looking at Caitlin. She's got a zebra on the back of her laptop.
I see you, okay.
Okay.
All right.
Not South
Nina's
Boston.
All
not
right.
with us.
South,
The computer says everybody's connected.
South Boston has nothing.
Well, the computer's showing South Boston's connected. So, is Nina there?
We don't know.
All right, Keysville on board.
Yeah, Keysville is.
All right. Let me text Nina and see if she's there.
Oh, she's there. I'm texting her now.
Oh, and she's not hooked up.
No, she says she can't see or hear us.
Well, the computer says that they're hooked up. I don't know. Is their system cut on for her to see us?
Walkie-talkies might be more accurate. CB or something.
Do what?
I said walkie-talkies or CB might be more accurate.
When it works, it's perfect. It works great. But Southside has got at least 3 locations and maybe 4. And sometimes it's once we get systems set where it all dials in and works, I got a feeling in Nina's situation somebody doesn't have the equipment turned on. Operator error. We're going to send Danny down there to turn it on.
What's the results for the drone? Drone fluke?
Yeah, I haven't gotten them. I think he was still trying to knit them together.
Oh, she says their TVs are not on. I'm trying to get her to turn on the TVs and see if the other box is on. So apparently nobody fired up that classroom this morning.
I was down there Friday and he had gotten the information downloaded, but he hadn't meshed it all together. He was working on a presentation that he did for the group that I was there. And it taken a whole lot of his time. He's still working on stuff. It doesn't bother me. I heard a thing last week. They said one time, for medical purposes, they said that wasn't good. They've come out with another report that says it was a benefit. So you're positive. I'm not.
Oh, Dwayne, are you there?
He may have gone back in to talk to Joe. I don't know.
Yeah, she's just seeing herself on the screen. Her TVs are on, but she's not seeing anybody else. So, sounds like the connection has not been made.
Well, it may be an issue. I know with ours, Tom, if I don't press the right button for our camera, you won't be able to see everybody. That's when Dwayne will come on and say ours is a black screen.
Uh-huh.
I don't know what type of system she's got in there. It may make it hard to do. So.
Yeah. I can see if I can dial her in from here. I don't know if that'll break things or not.
I got a joke. You want to hear it?
Yes, please.
What do you call a fly with no wings? A walk.
That's a terrible joke.
Tell her we're working on it. That's all I know to do. That's all I know to do. Tell her we're working on it.
What do you call a terrible joke? A
Okay.
worthless piece of waste of time.
Uh,
That won't good. All right,
couple of things, guys. Number one, I want to apologize to you guys that tried to do the discussion board this weekend because it wasn't working properly. And I fought with it. Now I finally got it. And I will show you how to do it because I had to go get technical assistance. So, in Blackboard, week 1, oh crap. All right, here we go. Week 1. And me and the guy tried it out and it worked again. It worked for me before, so I thought it would work for you guys, but obviously it didn't with some phone calls I got. But I think we got it going now. Beef Magazine, this is the one. You click on that blue link right there to read the article. And you can read the article. Then just click on Beef Magazine and go up here to create thread. And you can type in your subject if you want. It may require that since it has that star. So just put animal welfare and then type in your opinion and then hit submit. Very simple. Won't take you long to do it. You spent more time with that than what it actually took you to do it, right, Greg? So I apologize. I should have all the kinks worked out. I tried it. The administrator guy tried it. And you guys at Keysville are laughing. Did y'all fight with this and pull your hair out? Or are y'all laughing about something else?
That joke.
Oh, one other thing. I got the recording from last Thursday's class. I didn't get it up until this morning because the recording didn't stop, so I had 22 hours worth of audio to edit, but it's taken care of now.
Oh,
yeah.
Not good.
So both the 141 and the 233 recordings are up now.
Okay, thank you, Tom.
How long should I be
So you should be able to find those in there as well. I don't see it yet. But anyway, the other thing I wanted to discuss, apologize to you guys for, was some confusion on labs. I guess John and I have done this so much, and we kind of talked to our class, after class and before class, so we can clarify some questions. But you guys at South side, I guess we did not clarify that we were not going to meet on Friday morning. That your lab was, the plant science lab was going to the grocery stores and the meat science lab as well. So this Friday for labs, John's class and my class, we are not going to meet. We're going to, you're going to have plant science one week, animal science the next week. And so I gave you your animal science lab and John gave you his plant science lab, so that covers last Friday and this Friday's lab. Everybody understand that?
So whose lab's next?
Well, we'll, more than likely, for us at Patrick Henry, we'll do a plant lab.
And then, okay.
Yeah, we've done a plant, your animals this week. The rotation would be a plant for the next week. And that, we may vary things a little bit, but And I'll let you know next week exactly what we're gonna do and where. So don't worry about it.
So
Nina,
don't worry about meeting at lab. Just work on those lab assignments that John and I gave you for animal and plant science lab. If you did not finish it Friday, you got another Friday. Okay? Everybody clear? You guys at South Side and Keysville, y'all with me on that?
Yes, sir.
All right. South
Nina,
Boston,
are you-
Nina, do you join us? Can you hear us now?
Yes, she said it. I got a text from her saying it's working.
Okay, good.
She's being shy.
All right. Glad you could join us this morning. All right. So, took care of the Beef Magazine article and the labs. Any questions that you guys may have? It's connected now. Thank you very much. All right. If not, we will continue on our discussion. Now, last week we started chapter 1, and then that's all we did was start chapter 1. So we're going to crank up the gears a little bit, because, I explained the lab and beef article and stuff. So anyway, now we talked about the world population. Do y'all remember what we said the world population was? Approximately how many billion? Yeah, a little bit over 7 billion. And the population's still growing. And they're estimating that it's going to be 10 billion people by the year 2050. So, to put it in other terms, right now it's 2016, right? So we've got less than, let's see, we got the 20s, 30s, 40s, 30, about 35, 36 years. We're going to be looking at another 3.5, a little bit over 3.5 billion people. That's a lot of mouths, right? So agriculture production is going to have to increase. Are there countries, even in this country, do y'all think that there's places in the world, including our country, that people don't get enough to eat? Okay, we have 2 yeses. Y'all, the rest of you guys, agree?
Yes.
Disagree?
Yes.
Yeah. All right, you're correct. What countries do we see a lot of malnutrition?
Africa.
Africa's one of them.
Africa.
Definitely Africa.
South America.
Asian.
Asia is another one, and I heard South America. That is, the book says Latin America, which is kind of that bridge between South America and Mexico, Guatemala, those countries, in that Central America. But yeah, I would say South America has that same issue. Extreme poverty down there as well. So, especially in the Andes and Brazil, we heard about that during the Rio Olympics. So, South America, Central and South America, Asia, and Africa. Those are the countries where more than 800 million people don't have enough to eat. So that's a lot of people that's undernourished. I think we also talked about how average caloric intake has increased. In 1960, when there were 3 billion people, the average caloric intake in in countries that were developing countries, was about 2,000 kilocalories a day. In 1998, with 6 billion people in the developing countries, where there's about 6 billion in 1998. In the developing countries, the average caloric intake was 2,700 kilocalories a day. So basically what that's saying is more people are consuming more food. Y'all agree or disagree?
Agree.
Yeah. So if we now to put, just trying to look at the big picture here with agriculture, worldwide agriculture and hunger, and in from 60 to 98, that's 38 years. Caloric intake went up in developing countries by 700 kilocalories. And we jump forward to 2010, we're still realistically, and this is my opinion, I may be wrong, but it's just my opinion, I still think we're going to face the hunger issue in 2010, in 2050. I don't think world hunger, unless something can happen, politically, and I don't know if we're going to wipe out world hunger. I think we raise enough food, but it's just a matter of transportation, the logistics of getting food to everybody that's hungry, and politics and infrastructure are pretty big hindrances, whatever the political climate may be. So I still think we're probably going to have hunger in 2050. It may be more, it may be less. I don't know, but I still think it'll exist. We have it in our country today. There's people in the United States that don't get enough to eat, that live that live in poverty. So, as developed as we are, we still have that issue here. So it's a hard issue to deal with, and what happens with hunger, I'm going to skip ahead in the PowerPoints if you follow. The United Nations has one of their sections is the Food and Agricultural Organization, and they estimate that the number of undernourished people is about 840 million. And that the most of these people that receive inadequate nutrition live in the developing world, live in developing countries. How important is proper nutrition for proper growth of people and animals? If nutrition is limited, or food is limited, what kind of problems can we see in the growth and development of people and animals? I didn't hear you. Can you speak up?
Famine.
Okay. Famine would be a cause of hunger, of inadequate food. But what are some... Hold on a second, guys. Let me explain. What are some effects of that lack of food to people or animals? Now, you said growth. Can growth be stunted by improper nutrition?
Yes.
Yes. What else can be?
Health.
What?
Health effects.
Could be. We have birth weight are lower. That's right. With improper nutrition, we could have some birth defects, improper development of the fetuses, and bone structure, or muscles, or organs. So, but birth weight's one that the book lists. Another one is reduced growth. How about the ability to learn? Is that impaired? Improper nutrition? You bet it is. Now, just to kind of put things in perspective, I mean, we're lucky we can go to college, right? For those of you that have classes all morning long, when it gets about 11 o'clock, say in this class, we let out almost 12 o'clock. Are y'all getting hungry by about the time we let out? For those of you that got up,
I'm hungry now.
you're hungry now. All right. How hard is it for you to pay attention when your stomach is saying, I feel my throat's been cut? Or your belly
It's really
button
hard.
goes into the back of your spine? Is it hard for you to pay attention and learn? It is, isn't it? You're like, man, I wish this guy'd shut up. Wish time would hurry up so I can go eat. I mean, that, you're laughing. I'm trying to make a joke. It's okay to laugh. But, that's the way it is. But now can you imagine you're always hungry and you don't know where your next meal's coming from? Even if you're getting nutrition and learn, but your mind's elsewhere. The other side of that as well that impairs learning is that improper nutrition can affect the ability to learn. Not just being hungry and thinking about your next meal and not paying attention. It can affect proper brain and neural development. Okay? And cognitive development. So it deals with the learning process. So you don't pay attention, and then your brain and your nerves don't develop properly. So we have physical, mental, neurological issues with improper nutrition. You'll probably see those again on an exam. So what happens when people are hungry and malnourished? Do you think it's a vicious cycle? How hard do you think it is to break that cycle? When they mature, when those kids mature and have kids of their own, if they're not fully or properly developed mentally or physically, do you think they can go out there and work and earn money to feed their kids? Do you think the cycle continues? Yeah, it does continue. And it's hard to break that vicious cycle. Hunger leads to poverty. Poverty leads to hunger. It's a circle. And it's tough to get out of it. The Food and Agriculture Organization, the UN, FAO, I was just telling you about a minute ago, they have a definition for food security, okay? And their definition, and you will see this on the exam, it's on Blackboard, but their definition, y'all listen close, I'll put it up here so you can read it, and I want you to tell me whether or not y'all agree with it. Their definition says food security exists when all people at all times have physical, social, and economic access to sufficient, safe, and nutritious food to meet their dietary needs and food preferences for an active and healthy life. That's their definition of food security. Now, do y'all agree with it or not? What's y'all's opinion?
Food security is when no child has to go hungry. I think that's food security.
Okay. Do you think that applies just for children or for adults as well?
I mean, nobody should go hungry.
Okay. Now, what about if all that person ate or had access to was potato chips from McDonald's? And I'm not knocking McDonald's, okay? We'll just say any fast food restaurant, okay? Or junk food. Because, potato chips are fairly cheap. Potato chips and pop, right? And one of the big things people are harping on is that junk food's cheaper than healthy food. So if you spend your limited income on junk food that'll fill you up pretty quickly, how nutritious is that? It isn't, right? So we could still have more problems. So what we're seeing in our country today is childhood obesity and diabetes, right? Because of improper nutrition. Too much soda. Or pop. I call it pop. My wife calls it soda. Whatever you refer to it as. But, I agree with you. I'm just playing devil's advocate. I appreciate you speaking up and participating. I do agree that, food security should be that really, nobody goes hungry. And I feel it needs to be nutritious food. How about this other part? Meet their dietary needs, I agree with, and food preferences. Now, how realistic is that? It's not, is it? I mean, I work. My preference, it'd be nice if I could have steak more than, have a really nice steak more often than what I do. But I can't afford it. But I can afford another type of meat to get my protein. Don't always get ice cream. Everybody likes ice cream. But, the food preference, I have an issue with, okay? There were 5 of us kids. We were raised on beans and cornbread. We ate a lot of beans and cornbread growing up, and, and we had other things to eat as well, but that was pretty much our staple. And, we had milk and we had meat and stuff too, don't get me wrong, but, we didn't always get our food preferences. But, my parents made sure we had healthy foods, nutritious foods. And I kind of have an issue with the food preferences, but I think the safe, nutritious food is important. What percent of the world do you guys think raise their own food? Of the world's population, I should say.
3%.
Okay, we have 3%. You have 30. We have 35%. 45%. What other ones do we have?
10%.
10. Okay. Anybody else want to venture a guess?
5% too.
Okay, 5 and 2. Now we're talking the world, not just the United States.
20%.
Okay, 20 and 15.
12%.
12. Okay, now we've had we've had 2 and 3% put out there, and just to clarify that, I know where you're coming from, okay? Because in the United States, just right under 3% are the farmers, and they feed the country pretty much. Most of the population in the United States is removed from agriculture, so I know where you're getting that number, and that would hold true for our country. And the other guys, y'all were better because y'all were way up there. But if you take a look at it worldwide, the UN estimates about 40% of the world's population raises their own. So when we think about the countries of Africa, we know they struggle a lot with famine and droughts, and a lot of those people there in Africa and Asia and South America, a lot of them raise their own food. We don't do it as much here in the United States and in Europe. Those other countries, there's a lot of them raise their own food. So when there's a natural disaster like a drought, it really hurts their ability to raise food. So what we're seeing, with the increase of population and this vicious hunger and poverty cycle, it's putting a lot of pressure on farmers to produce enough food, right? Especially U.S. producers and other farmers in developed countries to produce enough food to raise and we've really had a lot of progress in the last 50 years with production, from management techniques, conservation techniques, nutrition, and genetics. Genetics have been made both in animal and in plant. And one, the book talks about the Green Revolution. And I guess in today's time, a lot of times we think about green, we kind of think of a lot of environmentalists, that type of revolution. But the Green Revolution, I guess the original one, was using genetics for agriculture, improving genetics for agriculture. And it came out of Mexico, from research that was done in Mexico and India, and what it resulted in was wheat and rice with big yields, just through plant breeding. They were able to increase yields of wheat and rice. And so that increased production, right? You may get, it might have doubled and might have even tripled the amount of production per acre for wheat and rice just through the use of genetics. And that's gone a long way in reducing hunger because you're increasing the availability of food at a lower price. Going back to the classes, your economic classes of supply and demand. If you've got enough supply, you can fill the demand and it won't be expensive. But But if you don't have enough of the supply and you have that big demand, it's going to be expensive, right? So with this green revolution, what's that? Who's whistling? So with this green revolution, it was research-based advances in production of cereal grains like wheat and rice. They came up with better agronomic practices. They understood better about fertilizer and irrigation and water. So we came up with better use of fertilizer and irrigation practices. And as I said earlier, they greatly improved genetics, seed genetics. And now, it's transferred over for more than just rice and wheat. It's corn, soybean, even vegetable production, small fruit. So now we've got hybrids. We've got varieties of corn that, their seed won't reproduce, but they can cross a couple different varieties of corn to get a hybrid and plant that and get tremendous yield. There are some parts of the country, mainly in the Midwest, that their yields of corn are pushing 300 bushels an acre. Some are pushing way over 300. Here in Virginia, John, what would you say the average is? About 170?
In that range, yeah.
So you get there and the corn belt, the Midwest states, they refer to as the corn belt, and they're getting, you can think of the I states with those, Iowa, Illinois, Indiana. Those are also pretty big in hogs and cattle as well. But they're getting, double the production what we do in Virginia on corn. Part of it's soils and the lay of the land, different factors, but it's more conducive to growing corn than, here in southwestern Virginia. And now what all this has led into, that early green revolution, it's led into biotechnology and genetic modified organisms, GMO corn. Your Roundup ready corn, Roundup ready soybeans. So you can go in there and spray for weed control, but not kill out your corn, soybeans, or alfalfa. And you can plant varieties that are resistant to certain parasites, corn borer. So it's really come a long ways in the last 50 years, and we've got to improve it more. If you guys looking at jobs, potential jobs, and you like genetics, or bioengineering, or biochemistry, genetics is where to go. I think there's going to be a lot of jobs available in this field, either with plants or with animals. So to kind of give you an idea of back in from 1860 to the early to the 1920s, what do you guys think the yield per acre of corn was? How many bushels of corn do you think they got per acre from the late 1860 to 19? That's too high.
You know what a bushel of corn is to start with? Got any idea what a bushel of corn is?
Yeah, let's define what a bushel of corn is. How many pounds is in a bushel of corn?
How many pounds is in a bushel?
Well, it varies with commodity to commodity. That's why I asked if you knew what a bushel of corn was.
Now just think of corn. How many pounds are in a bushel?
Anybody got a guess? You
We
said
got
what?
40 over here. One
I have
guy
five
guessed
here.
40.
100.
What?
Al
what did
guessed
you say?
100. We've got a 5 and a 100.
Okay, we got a 40. What about you guys at Southside in Keysville? Nina, there at
60.
South Boston.
He didn't hear you.
60.
We got a 60. What else do we have?
I want to say 100.
We got a 50 and a 100. John, would you like to tell them? Do you want me to tell them?
It's your show. I'll let you tell them. I don't want to take your thunder.
56 pounds. Isn't that right, John?
Yeah.
56 pounds of corn per bushel.
That's pounds of grain. That's not the cob.
Yeah,
that's just
not the
grain.
ear. That's just the grain.
Mhm.
Yeah. So you go to the store for those and buy a bag of deer corn. You know, it comes in a 50-pound bag. That's almost a bushel. You're 6 pounds short.
Unless you're buying it at Walmart and it's only a 40-pound bag.
Oh, okay. Then you're 16 pounds short.
Yeah.
So we're looking at 26 bushels an acre of corn back in 1860 to 1920. 1940 started to bump up to about 39 bushels. What happened was it the 30s? Late 30s? When we started increasing corn and we were farming from fence row to fence row. What happened? The Great Depression hit. It was the Dust Bowl. Big drought. And we did not know good conservation practices back then, and big clouds of dust left here. But out there in the Midwest, it was a big drought. And then we saw a migration of people. A lot of people left Oklahoma and Kansas and went to California. They moved. We saw a migration of people as well during that time and during the Depression. But in the 40s, it bumped up to about 39 bushels an acre. By 2004, is over 200 on average. As I said, there's some counties that's pushing 400 bushels per acre of corn. That's a lot. Virginia, we're probably, most producers, at least in my part, we don't raise corn for grain here. It's mainly for silage to feed cows. Some people raise corn and harvest the corn, but it's to feed back. It's, they'll harvest the ears. They use, those guys usually looking at about 170, maybe 200, depending on when
How many of you in here know what he means when he says silage?
I do.
Okay. I got 2 out of 9 here that knew what silage was, Dwayne. So
I do.
All right, what about you guys at Southside and Keysville? Y'all know what silage is?
Yeah, we know.
Yeah.
All right. For those of y'all that don't, silage is where they grow corn, and they go in there and they chop it, the stalk, ear, leaves, the whole 9 yards. And they're starting to chop it now. Some people
We
are.
did last week.
And what they'll do, they'll pack it really tight, get the air out of it, and that will ferment, kind of pickle, basically. But make it simple. It'll pickle, and then they'll feed it back to livestock. And it's got the stalk, got leaves, it's got the husk, it's got the corn cob, it's got the corn kernels in it. The whole plant is all chopped up, about 1/4 of an inch type, or somewhere about, what is that, 3/4 of an inch, John? You
Yeah,
guys that make silage, what's the ideal particle size?
Megan, y'all
About
use
3/4.
silage? Y'all do silage?
About 3/4 of an inch.
Ours about 1/4 of an inch.
Is it 1/4? I wasn't for sure. I know it's small, because you got to get that air out of there. If it's too big, you can't get it packed in there. So it's about 1/4. So anyway, it's grown. Production's grown tremendously since this green revolution started. And what it's we've ended up with a 6 times increase in grain production because of it. And now China, they export more grain than they import, all because of this green revolution that started in Mexico. And the guy that started this, his name is Norman Borlaug, Borlaug, and he was born in 1914 in Iowa, and went down to Mexico and led a bunch of research down there to really get it going. And in 1970, he ended up with the Nobel Peace Prize and later got the Presidential Medal of Freedom and the Congressional Gold Medal. And so he was very instrumental. He's known as Norman Borlaug's known as the father. Really brought in plant genetics, agronomic practices to improve food production. Now, when we think about, we've talked a lot about world hunger today. We've talked about the Green Revolution. And we've talked about the world population. And we've also talked about how the world population is growing. What does that mean for farming?
It decreases.
It's decreasing. So this throws another challenge in toward us, doesn't it? We've got more people to feed on less land. Easy to do or not easy to do? Yeah, it
Really hard.
makes it really hard. And, you guys out there in Keysville, South Boston area, and some of you guys there around Martinsville, depending, Patrick Henry, depending on where your farms are, for those of you that have farms, y'all not far from Roanoke. Y'all not far from Richmond, Virginia Beach. And so you get people that move into your area, and we see it here. People move into our area that are unfamiliar with agriculture. And they don't like tractors on the road. They're too slow. They don't like you to move, if you got to move cattle from one pasture to another. I mean, maybe it's just me. Man, it's a whole lot easier sometimes to get a couple of your buddies out there. Let them bring their horses and you just drive them up the road. I've done it a lot in Virginia. Some of these people don't like that. They kind of complain. So, not only are we losing land, but then we get people in rural areas that don't understand how stuff goes with agriculture. and it makes it challenging. You know, or they move beside the farm, and at weaning time, and the farmer weans his calves. And you got cows bawling, you got calves bawling, and you got an irate neighbor because it's too noisy. Or you're chopping, or you know, it doesn't happen here because we don't have big fields to combine. But man, it's nothing. When I was out west, you'd see combines going way up into the night. When I was in Colorado and I spent some time out in the Imperial Valley of California, it was so arid where at some of those places they would bale hay at night after the dew fell to keep the alfalfa leaves from falling off the stalk because it was that arid. Yeah, and you get plants when you spread out the effluent from hog farms and poultry litter and dairy farms. They just don't understand these things. So, what we're seeing is development. We're seeing big growth in cities, especially in throughout the world. Mexico City is growing. Tokyo, New York City, Sao Paulo, Brazil, where the Olympics were. Man, they got 19 million people there. Tokyo has 35 million. Big mega cities. You know, you take the east coast of Virginia, northern Virginia and down. I mean, it's almost like one big city. To me, it is. I don't know. You know, you guys travel out through there, y'all may distinguish more, but it's nothing but traffic. But it's, you know, where does Washington, D.C. end and Alexandria, Virginia start? You know, that whole, it's just becoming one big city, spreading out. You know, all the way up into Baltimore, it seems. When last time I was through there, I just, different exits had different names, but it all just looked like one big whole city. I'm just a simple guy, as Bill O'Reilly says. But, you know, we're getting tremendous growth in cities. And, you know, people like to move out of the cities into the urban areas. You know, everybody had, you know, I guess one time the American dream was to have a little house with a white picket fence, right? Around your yard. You know, say that. It wasn't mine. But, you know, people want residential neighborhoods. They want to be in a subdivision instead of in the city. They want some quiet, a little bit quieter. And so we're losing our land as the cities sprawl out and these subdivisions grow. And shopping centers go, industrial parks, and we're losing our farms. And so one thing the book or this chapter talks about is smart growth. They're wanting people, or you know, they're presenting the idea of growing smartly. You know, having certain areas designated as urban centers where people live and workplaces and shopping places, and have public transportation to and from those places, but yet conserve our farmland. Pretty much a zoning type deal, basically, to put it in layman's terms, so that they can regulate growth and preserve farmland, keep growth, or keep people, you know, out of good farmland. What we do know is, you know, people, they'll move. They're not happy, they'll move, right? If they find a job, they'll leave the area and go somewhere else, to where they're more happy. And whether it's out in the country or into the city or subdivision. So, you know, the author of the book proposes smart growth in zoning to preserve our farmland. I have mixed feelings. I'm not going to lie to you. I don't want somebody telling me what I can and can't do with my farm. If I decide to sell it to some subdivider for bukus of money, and I go lay on the beach or go do what I want to do for the rest of my life, I want that option. But at the same time, I hate to see subdivisions go in on good farming. So, I don't know what the answers are. But we're going to have to do something to save our farmlands. Because this urban sprawl that we're experiencing, it's resulting in a big loss of farmland, and it's going to affect our production of food. A couple of terms that you guys will need to know for the exam. One of them is greenfield development. Any idea what that would mean when we're thinking about developing property? What would greenfield development mean? What is it? Any ideas? Any guesses? Yes, development of farmland. Okay? Because that land was, it's been green. It's just been used for agricultural use. And they go in there and they put a housing development on there, they put a mall, business, park, whatever it may be. What's the advantages of that? Why develop on previously undeveloped land? Any ideas? Is it going to be contaminated by industrial chemicals? Probably not. So you don't have to worry about any issues with contamination. It's not been developed before, so you're getting a fresh start. So it's going to be cheaper, right? You don't have to tear down previous buildings and parking lots. You don't have to bring in dirt. Or sometimes you may, depending on where you're at. But you don't. It's going to be cheaper than developing previously developed land, and you don't have to worry about contamination. The other term is brownfield development. What do you think that means? Yeah, it's the opposite. You're developing the land, or you're developing land that previously developed for something else, whether it was factories, a shopping center, a previous subdivision, whatever. You're knocking that out and going in there something new, and that's called brownfield development. What's an advantage and disadvantage with that land? With that type of development?
More work involved, more money.
It's going to be a little bit more expensive, right? Because you're going to have to do some deconstruction, right? You're going to have to tear out the original the buildings on there, maybe tear up a parking lot. Could you have contamination if it was some type of factory or industrial plant? Yeah, you could have soil contamination. Would you want to put a house there on that contaminated soil for your kids to go play in? No, not really. You'd want to make sure that thing was tested and came back clean. So it's more expensive. you have the issue, depending what was there could be some possible soil contamination. What would be an advantage of it?
You know the land.
Yeah, you're not taking up any more farmland.
You could reuse the building or whatever was there.
I'm sorry, I didn't catch all of that.
I said you could reuse the building or whatever was there.
That is a possibility. You know, depending on the site, depending on what your intent, your future intent of that site, you could reuse the building, modify it. Maybe cheaper, maybe more expensive. I don't know, but that's you know, you have that possible, you know, a potential of it being more expensive. You have the potential disadvantage of soil contamination if it wasn't some type of manufacturing or factory or something. You know, my favorite answer, guys, you'll find out, is it depends. And with what you just said, you know, it depends. You know, it depends on what was there. What are you going to use the property for now? You know, you may be able to use the building. And you may not. I don't know. It depends. And I'm not trying to be short or anything, but that's a good point. There may be stuff on there that you can use, so it may be cheaper for you in the long run. You know, there's advantages and disadvantages with everything you do. And one thing you'll learn in Tom's classes is you start taking these economic classes, you'll start figuring out how to put a pencil to it. What's the advantage if I bought this new piece of equipment? And you can put a pencil to it. How much is it going to is it going to pay for itself? Is it going to make you money? Or should I just repair my old one, or should I just buy a used? Or should I do without? How do I do an economic analysis on it? And so that's what you're going to have to end up doing, figuring out, putting it to paper and putting numbers on there and seeing what it is. Let me see if we got all this covered. All right, we'll finish up real quick on corn. What's corn used for, guys?
Animal food.
So used to this corn that we were discussing back then. Well, okay, it's a major ingredient in livestock for beef, pork, poultry, dairy. What else is it used for?
Cornbread.
Yeah, it's used for food. Cornbread. In South America, they don't eat a lot of cornbread in South America, but they do sure eat a lot of corn tortillas in Mexico. What about cornflakes? How many of y'all eat cornflakes?
I like them.
Yeah, I like them. Corn chips. You like your Tostitos? Doritos? Santitos? You know, it's used for people food. It's used for animal food. It's used for alcohol. They use it to make ethanol, to mix with gasoline. We talked about corn silage, chopping it up for silage to feed cattle. Pretty big uses. It's also used in industrial uses as well. It's got some uses, especially with the oil that take out the oil and use it in industrial stuff along with food, corn oil for food. Sometimes looking back in history and also with the Latin America, Central and South America, we hear the word maize, M-A-I-Z-E. We think of that as the Spanish term for corn, right? So in the United States, maize refers to corn, and then that's the word Spanish for corn. But in England, and I'm not going to test you on this because it kind of gets kind of confusing. They call corn means wheat instead of corn that we know of. The word corn means the most prevalent cereal or grain produced in a specific region. So in different areas of the country or in the world, corn may be a different plant than what we refer to as corn. Maize. So maize is corn for us, and England is wheat. But it's the most prevalent cereal or grain there in a specific region. It's pretty confusing. But when I say corn, you guys just think of corn. I'll keep it simple because I can get confused pretty easy. Now, we talked a little bit about, you guys are at about time, we got about 5 more minutes, right? We talked a lot about plant production and use of corn, how corn, wheat, rice, genetics. What about animal agriculture? How important is it in the world? And how important is it in the developing world? Yeah, it's very important. And we're going to pick up on that on Thursday. We're going to start talking about animal agriculture and development. And we'll finish up chapter 1. Actually, we're almost done, but we will pick it up with important points that I'm going to go over. So, anyway, we'll talk about that. When we get back to it. So, do y'all have any questions or comments before we leave? Okay. I hear silence and books and zippers. Y'all getting settled in for class? It's getting settled in a routine now or not? You need another week to get in a routine of coming to classes and work and all?
If you're given a free pass for a week, we'll take it.
What's that?
I said if you're given free passes for a week, we'll take it.
No, I'm not going to do that. I'd be wasting your money. You or your parent or, your financial aid, you're paying to take this class. What is it now, $100 a credit hour? Somewhere around that figure? You're paying.
No,
What is it?
it's near 150.
Near 150. All right. This is a 4-credit class. So 4 times 150 is how much? 4, 5, $600? So you're paying $600 to come to my class to learn. I don't want to shortchange you of that in any way, shape, or form. I want you, when you leave here, to get your $600 worth. I don't want you to feel like I cheated. How do you like my spin on giving that free pass now?
Real considerate.
Yeah, that's right. I don't want you to waste your money.
We'll see you after lunch, Dwayne.
All right, see you after a while, John. I'll see you guys Thursday.
No level on Friday. You got stuff to do, but we won't be.
Okay. Yes.
Understand?
Come on.
I've never had an interest in walking horses. I appreciate them. I'm not knocking them. They're just not my thing. It pays. That's right. I've trained a few. I've started a few. You know, get them started under saddle. I don't do any different than I do a quarter horse. Pays the same, and they're a lot easier than a quarter horse. They don't buck as bad. I've never had one buck with them. Yeah, they spook up and take off running. But if I'm in a round pen, they're just going to run in a circle. They're not the most athletic. It's for not like quarter horses. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I mean they can all buck. I know that. But you know, and I haven't started a lot of Tennessee walkers, but I've never had one buck. That's all I've ever had out of it. And the same thing with saddlebreds. They'll tend to rear before they'll buck. That's been another thing I've noticed. That's dangerous. All right, you want to go see if we can get you registered in there? And we need to get you, see what's going on with you.